most watched news in Western Washington. King-5 News at 10:30 starts now.
Ever since UW student Amanda Knox was convicted of murder in Italy, her case has been analyzed and dissected.
Now a retired FBI agent is taking up the cause. Like many people in law enforcement, Steve Moore once believed Knox was guilty. Now, in an exclusive interview with King-5 investigator Linda Byron, he explains why he changed his mind.
I've worked mass shootings, I've worked mass murders.
As an FBI agent, Steve Moore helped take down an al-Qaeda cell that bombed the U.S. consulate in Karachi. He helped ID a suicide bomber and track down terrorists who blew up a hotel in Indonesia. Moore interrogated the man who shot up a Jewish daycare in L.A., and he got a confession. In short, for 25 years, Steve Moore's job was going after killers and getting convictions.
I am not the kind of person to go on causes trying to get people released from jail.
So why is he doing it 2 years after retiring from the FBI and for a young woman he's never met, Amanda Knox?
I mean, if you were a paramedic and you saw a car accident on the street, you wouldn't walk on and say, hey, I'm retired.
We interviewed Moore via satellite from the NBC newsroom in Los Angeles.
Both the head detective and the prosecutor were...
Moore says he believes Knox is the accidental victim of a flawed investigation, overzealous prosecutor, and a tabloid media frenzy which tainted the jury. It's quite a turnaround for him.
Going in guilty.
And now?
As certain of her innocence as I am of anything in the world.
It was Moore's wife who pushed him to get involved after watching a documentary that convinced her Knox was innocent.
Based on his Quantico training, Moore was skeptical, and he set out to prove his wife wrong. He obtained the Italian trial transcripts, police and autopsy records, and had them translated into English.
He watched videotape of investigators gathering evidence at the crime scene. And Moore came to a startling conclusion.
Horror. I felt like I was looking into some bad dream.
You don't think it should have even been allowed in?
It shouldn't, and it wouldn't have been allowed in any case that I ever tried.
Just as important was what Moore didn't see. Any proof for the prosecution's theory. Jurors were told that Knox masterminded a drug-fueled sex game, with her former boyfriend holding down Meredith Kircher, while a drifter named Rudy Gaudet sexually assaulted her and Knox slit Kircher's throat. In that scenario, Moore says there would have been an explosion of DNA from the three attackers all over the room.
There was blood everywhere. There were footprints, fingerprints, palm prints, hair, fluid samples, DNA of one person. There is no way that two people could have just levitated over all the blood while one person stepped all through it.
The person who left his prints behind was Rudy Gaudet, who would become the first person convicted for Kircher's murder. But there's another reason Moore believes Knox is innocent. He says she doesn't fit the profile of a violent killer. Nowhere in her history as a UW honors student and all-American kid who played the guitar and excelled at soccer did she show even one sign of a disturbed dark side.
You're going to find rages. You may find fist fights in school. You may find cruelty to animals. There is no way for somebody to be as violent as they say Amanda was that night without there being a clear pattern leading up to it.
Then one wonders why Knox would sign statements that she was there that night and later change her story.
That was the most coercive interrogation I have ever seen admitted into a court in the last 20 years.
Knox is desperately hoping her conviction will be thrown out, but her appeals trial is being held in Perugia, the same medieval town where the murder occurred and where she was convicted last December. Linda Byron, King-5 News.
Moore says he has never met the Knox family, but he's received emails thanking him for taking interest in Amanda's case.